All right, let's see. Okay, meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Hi, everybody. This is Raunak Sharma. He's the CEO of Thrizer. So I'm so excited to invite you here today to just tell the group about Thrizer and see if they have any questions. But first, I want to just go and make sure it's streaming and everything's working the way it's supposed to on Facebook. Let's see.
Sure. Thanks for having me, Kim.
You're welcome. Okay, yeah, it looks like we're streaming. Oh, hi, Glendora. We got people commenting in the comments. Okay. So I'd love if we could just get started. Maybe you could just tell the group about Thrizer, like the origin story and how you came to create this company. I love bringing like new innovative companies to the therapist in the group so they can have all these different resources. So I'm so glad to have you here.
Yeah, absolutely. I love to talk about my background and kind of where Thrizer came from. But I mean, really, I'm a longtime therapy client. I had my own journey with mental illness, and I think back in 2018 is where that journey kind of hit its peak. And I was in college at the time. I had just taken a semester off school, coming back, transitioning back to real life, quote unquote. And needed the support of a therapist just to help with that transition, and just had a lot of trouble finding someone who was in network who could see me immediately, and ended up going out of network and paying a good amount of money every week. And I think that what hurt was of course the therapy was so essential at the time. What hurt was not necessarily cost. It was just what made it worse was just working with my insurance companies, just try to get the money back and reimbursed, leveraging the the out of network benefits that are part of my plan. And so kind of as I continued through my journey, I was like, there has to be just a better way to do this. Everything is so just archaic and slow. And
it's so frustrating, especially the out of network stuff. It's like you get quoted benefits and then you don't even know if it's going to pay right. And then it's like the process to submit the super bill. I mean, it's a mess.
Yeah, and I mean, some are easier than others. Some is at least you can submit electronically rather than mail, but it's still a lot of times you'll have to call them to get a status update, and which takes forever. And just the way you get your money back is through check, which could, whole range of problems come up that way. So my whole thing with Thrizer is let's just create a platform that just makes this whole thing streamlined, electronic, modern. So that's where we went with it.
It's amazing. And how long has it been around? It's not been around too long, has it? Maybe since January?
You're right. Yeah, we're relatively new. I mean, we were founded a year ago, but we actually just launched in January. So wow. It's been a few months. Yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah, gosh, it's such a cool platform, you guys. I hope you'll go check it out. I'm not using it yet because I don't have any out of network people yet, but I know quite a few therapists that are already using Thrizer and they're super happy with the customer service and the support that you're offering them. So I think it's pretty amazing. So how can Thrizer help therapists who want to be out of network providers? Maybe they don't know how to do it, or maybe they're trying to do it on their own, or it seems too complicated. How does Thrizer help with that whole process?
Yeah, I mean, a few ways. I think that especially if you're trying to increase your private pay load, kind of just communicating, advertising that Thrizer is a part of your offering. We've seen it get therapists new clients. We've seen, prospects that may have not otherwise been able to convert because we're able to quote them, hey, this is going to be your net rate. You're only, you might pay this upfront, but you're only going to actually pay this long term. You're going to get reimbursed this quickly. So kind of when there's that, when clients are able to just, focus on themselves, focus on the care, they're not worried about where their money is, having to call insurance, all these other issues. I think they can stay in therapy longer. Their experience is better. So in that way, we definitely help this client acquisition and retention from those aspects.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think if the process is seamless, the clients are going to stay around longer. If it's difficult for them, or it seems like they're not getting reimbursed the right way, they're probably going to drop out of therapy more often.
Yeah, exactly. It's just an extra burden to take up. And like I mentioned, I was kind of like going through, I've been through it myself, and it's just not it's not something you want to deal with at that time. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I'm just seeing there's a couple people here. Glendora, Sal, Ishual, Moonchild, Davis. Hey guys. So let us know if you have questions. Put them in the comments and I'll share them and we can answer any questions that you have about Thrizer. And if you're catching this later on the replay, I can take these back to Raunak and ask the questions as well. Let's see. So walk us through like the therapist journey if they use Thrizer. Could you tell us just beginning to end, like how somebody gets involved, how the process is for them and the steps that they take?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So it can start a few different ways. Some therapists might have prospects that, they want to use Thrizer with. And so with them, we usually just start by checking those clients' benefits, letting them know what their reimbursements were going to be, and kind of from there walking the therapist how to use Thrizer. And then other therapists already have out of network clients and kind of want to just reduce their admin load or just want to make their experience better. But kind of after that initial onboarding, it's pretty much the same. Really, all you're doing is just billing those clients through Thrizer rather than your current EHR or payment processor or whatever you might use to charge clients. And yeah, I mean, really, the way Thrizer works is that insurance claims are submitted kind of automatically at the time of payment. So we just tie those two things together: insurance submissions and then payment processing. So yeah, so
Okay.
I mean so really it's just for the therapist, it's kind of the same. Everything is the same other than like after the appointment, they just come to charge it to Thrizer to charge the client instead.
I see. So people are saying in the comments, so how does it work? How does this platform work? I'm getting all those questions coming up.
Yeah.
So does that answer your question, guys? So I guess, does the client go and actually sign up and put their information into the system, and then the therapist goes to the system and hits like, hey, I did a 90837 for this client, and then that's how it works?
Yeah, and I think the beauty about Thrizer is that we're trying to not have therapists have to memorize CPTs, diagnosis, all this. It kind of just is super simple. But yeah, I mean, kind of a three-step process, the way most of our therapists use it. They sign up for Thrizer, they add their clients, the clients get an email notification.
Okay.
Just
So
to
we add the
click.
clients. Okay.
I mean, the client can sign up themselves.
Okay.
Easiest way is, I mean, most therapists just add them, and the clients will click the link, enter their insurance information, and from there, you guys are good to go to start billing. Once as soon as they enter it, we check their benefits, get back to them, and yeah, and then from there, it's a pretty simple thing just to charge them through the system. And yeah, like you kind of talk about, it's not really like you're typing 90837 or 90791 or anything like that. It's like you're just like, okay, I just had an intake appointment with this client, or I had an
Oh,
individual
okay.
appointment. I saw them for 45 minutes. So it's kind of like, you don't have to memorize all these arbitrary numbers, all these, especially once we start getting into in-network billing, I think the codes start to get a little more complex and broad. So we're
That's
trying to
true.
just, not have you just sit and memorize this like insurance type codes.
Mm-hmm. And in-network billing's coming soon. Y'all are going to be offering that as well, right? That's like a feature coming.
Right. Yeah. It's super highly requested. I think that, from my aspect, I was like, if we're offering like claim management anyway, we're already like, we have relationships with payers. Why not just like help out therapists who are billing in network? And it's kind of the same thing, therapists would bill them through us, and we just make sure they get reimbursed quickly without any issues. So that's really the way that would work.
Gotcha. So I'm getting some questions over here. So somebody says, so clients pay us our rate and then you do what?
Right. So yeah, the easy example I always use is, say your rate is $100, the client would pay you the $100 up front. At the time of that payment, the claim is submitted to insurance, and then we take it up and we process that claim, or we do whatever we can to speed that up. And then we might hear, okay, the claim got processed, the reimbursement amount is $80. So we deposit that $80 into the client's bank account. And so that's how we make the whole thing electronic. How the whole idea is like to make the statuses of the claim just transparent everything electronic and easy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, gotcha. Does that make sense, Sal? Sal's the one asking that question. And then let's see, she says, what if you want nothing to do with insurance? I just want to get paid my rate and have clients submit for their own reimbursement.
Yeah, I mean, and that's really most of our most of the clinicians on us are the same way. They're like, I'm a private practice therapist. I don't want to deal with insurance. And yeah, I mean, we really communicate thoroughly with the clients. It's really just working with them. If you charge your rate, you get paid, and that's really if that's all you want to have to deal with, that's all you will. So yeah, I mean, from checking benefits, from giving claim statuses, from handling delays, all that communication is generally done directly with the client. Anytime they have questions, they can be reached out to us. So it's not going to have to fall on your plate unless you want it to.
Okay, so you can be involved if you want, but if you're like Sal, who's just like, I don't want to have anything to do with it. I want them to have the benefit of you guys helping them submit and get reimbursed if they can, but I don't want to know about it. I don't want to verify anything. I don't want to worry about like partial
Right.
payments or anything like that.
Right. Yeah. And that's the whole idea. Exactly.
That's amazing. What do you think about that, Sal? Waiting for her comment. Oh, she said yes. Let's see. Okay, so then let's see. Ishual is asking, is there a subscription fee? And then somebody right under her says, how does Thrizer get paid?
Yeah. Great question. So there's no subscription or monthly fees. The way that we make money is through a transaction fee. So we take a 3% cut of the clinician's rate. The idea is just to have that mirror what you guys would pay in credit card fees anyway. And that's really the direction that we're going. We want to be that payment processor for you guys. And, you're going to pay 3% one way or the other. And so it's like, have this, have it integrated with insurance, have this extra benefit for the clients, but have a secure kind of modern way to get paid as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So 3%, that's pretty good. And I think you had mentioned to me that you guys are really set on that rate. You have no interest in like increasing the rates or anything like that.
Yeah. No, I mean, the 3% that's not going to change. I have talked to you kind of offline about like, yeah, I mean, there's definitely stuff like Thrizer wants to do and like maybe the long term
Yeah.
that may have additional costs. Like for example, we're piloting a service called Thrizer Premium right now, and it's for clients. But the way it works is like clients who have met their deductible and want to just pay like a discounted rate up front. They just pay like a little bit extra. So going back to that example of, say the clinician charges $100, the clinician would still get their $100 up front, but the client, instead of waiting for the 80 to come back, they would just pay the 20 up front. Or maybe, whatever, 20, 25 or whatever Thrizer's fee is for that. So instead of like paying 100, waiting for 80, they just pay like whatever, 22, and Thrizer waits for that reimbursement.
Interesting.
So, right. So things like that. I mean, there's definitely services, and we're piloting that. It's been pretty popular. So we're expected for that to go like live publicly pretty soon.
Wow. That's exciting. Lots of different
Yeah.
angles here to use Thrizer. That's really cool. Let's see, we've got some other questions. Let me see here. Yes, somebody says, so basically you're saying the client pays us our rate and then they use your platform to file their out-of-network claims. And how do you get paid and who pays you? Okay, so that's what we were just talking about, but do you want to clarify? So it's a 3% charge. Yeah, maybe just clarify.
3% charge. And I think the main point is like there is no filing of claims, no super bills. Like there's no work on the client end specifically. It's just that they pay you through us, and at the time of the charge, everything is done automatically for them. So it's just really like the only time they need to get involved is if they want like a status update.
Gotcha. Okay. She said, great. Okay. And somebody says, are you in all states?
Yeah, we are. For billing, we're live in all 50 states.
Awesome. That's fantastic. Oh, she says, got it. Thank you. You're welcome.
Perfect.
Let us know if you have more questions because we've got them here so we can ask away. So So you kind of talked about it, but the client journey is they sign up, they put their information in, they put their bank account information. I guess that's how they get reimbursed when you get paid.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and really, if at that point, the only involved, like I mentioned, the only time they need to get involved after that is if they're like, oh, like, what's the status of my claim, or like, anything like they want any type of communication. That's when they would log in again.
I see. Okay. Okay. Somebody saying awesome. Somebody else says sounds interesting. Yeah. Okay. Very cool. So does this like speed up reimbursement for clients versus, like we were saying in the beginning, how it's sometimes you got to wait a long time to get reimbursed for out of network, and sometimes not, you don't get reimbursed at all. Does this speed up the process at all? Does it make it a smoother transition for the client?
Yeah, absolutely. It speeds it up. I think on average, we were collecting some data. It was like on average, people generally wait like 4 or 6 weeks to get their checks.
Wow.
With us, our average time right now is 2.5 weeks. And there's a lot of reasons. I mean, we have kind of established um, channels with payers at this point.
Uh-huh.
Our communication is kind of like flowing daily with them, and like just doing things electronically is way faster, as you guys all know.
Hmm.
So and if there is a check that needs to be mailed, it would be Thrizer waiting on that rather than the client. So there's just ways that we kind of pick up the load, we kind of front all the waiting time, and really just try to make everything happen fast as possible.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah. And like we were saying in the beginning, for anybody that's just coming in, it improves client retention rates. They're going to stay in therapy longer, they're going to get more help. And I think that's an amazing thing, really. Um, yeah, okay. So let's see. I think we kind of answered this already, but who checks the out of network benefits? Like, how does that process happen?
Yeah, and that's usually the first step. Yeah, so Thrizer's team does that. It's done kind of as soon as the client enters their insurance information. The way
Okay.
it's communicated right now is like we get back to them via email, kind of giving them a breakdown on their deductible, things like that. We're working on kind of making a real time thing just from their portal,
Oh,
but yeah,
wow.
that's how it works right now.
Okay, so it's pretty quick. They don't have to wait to hear back or very long.
Oh, it's usually within a few hours.
Okay. Yeah, because I know with some of the other like companies, you might have a new client that wants to get in that day, but it's hard to get the benefits verified. So you kind of have to put it off a little bit because you don't want to, bring them in and then find out nothing's covered, and then they might disappear or not pay or something like that pretty quick.
Yeah, and I mean that's why we're trying to just make it happen real time. That
Nice.
is, there's no they can just check it automatically as soon as they enter their stuff.
That's amazing. And you find that it's pretty reliable, the verification process?
Yeah, I mean, of course, most reliable when we ourselves call and figure out. So that's why it's like we're not pushing out the real time thing. It's just like a lot of testing, just kind of double checking, cross
Yeah,
checking things like that. But
that's
yeah, I mean,
great.
with time, it will definitely kind of overtake just the human effort.
Yeah, hopefully, because I think that's a problem we all run into. Like, we don't want to call because it takes so long to call and wait. And then it's like when you check online, the benefits half the time aren't right. Even when you call, sometimes they don't give you the right benefits. But you know,
Yeah, it's
um,
frustrating.
but I think it's
Um,
like the Holy Grail or whatever to find like a way to verify these benefits accurately and quickly. I mean, I think everybody wants that, or somebody that could do it for them.
yeah, and I continue to be amazed by insurance companies daily. No, it's
Yeah.
crazy. Sometimes you'll call and like you'll hear one thing, you'll call again an hour later and hear something else. So really, sometimes we've had cases we just have to call like 3 times and say, hey, like we have this other call recorded. Why did you say this? Um, but usually it's not that bad because we hope
Right.
it's not that. Right, but it happens,
Oh,
and I think
I know.
until kind of we get more modernized with our health insurance, it's going to be the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's see. Sal says, so we give clients your info for you to check their benefits.
So that's a way to do it. You
Okay.
can, the client also have their own portal where they can enter their insurance information, and we can check it that way as well.
Okay. So you could do it either way. So you could even be that hands off where you just say, well, I think we talked about this before, where you just say to the client, just go sign up over here. They'll do it all for you and I'll see you for your next appointment. Like you could
Yeah,
literally,
exactly. And then some other, some therapists are like, before I want to bill the client through Thrizer, I just want to make sure they have, or even before I even want to add them to Thrizer, I want to just make sure they have the benefits. So they'll send us like an insurance card or something similar.
hmm Oh, okay. Okay. So you could literally just send the card over and be done with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Just, get us the information in some form and we'll take it from there.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay. Oh, and she said, oh, okay, that was my next question, I guess, in reference to what we were just talking about. And she said, do you triple check to make sure the client OON is correct since we know they give wrong info? Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I mean, I would say 90% of the time it's accurate. I think the 10% can get messy. And that's when we really start double checking, triple checking. Anytime there's any type of like discrepancy or something seems off is when we start to get like super into details with it. But usually, usually it's correct on first pull.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Does that help, Sal? Let us know if you have more questions about that. So what happens if you pay everything out and then you find out later that it's not going to be reimbursed that way? Or do you always wait for it to be reimbursed and then you pay out? Just curious, like,
Yeah, I mean, so to be honest, I think that's happened one time
oh,
um,
okay.
in all of the claims that we've submitted. So kind of what happened was we verified benefits, and this was a time where it was like it seemed kind of off, so we triple checked. We heard from like multiple people, like, yeah, this is OON benefits are covered, and then kind of with the submission of the first claim, it was like, oh no, they're not covered. But in that case, the insurance company actually reimbursed us. So it's like when we have the data, like, yeah, this is what you told us. Kind of the blunder was on the insurance side, which is, they reimbursed the client for that session directly.
Oh,
So I
nice.
mean, yeah, I
Okay.
mean, we're never gonna have like clawback at patients to the clinicians or anything like that.
Okay.
So yeah, it's not like, oh, we pay them and then we're like, oh, just kidding, like we need that money back. That
Okay.
that that won't happen, right?
Okay. Okay, good. Yeah, somebody just came in. They said, sorry, I missed the answer to Sal's question. Is this something practice owners subscribe to Thrizer or for something else? Is this something practice owners subscribe to for Thrizer or for something else? I think that's kind of what we were talking about before. Just you can as the clinician, the client can sign up, or you can both sign up and work it that way, pretty much. Right,
Yeah, I
Raunak?
mean, if you're billing the client through Thrizer, yeah, you would both sign up. The way it happens it varies, but usually the therapist would sign up with Thrizer, invite the client to the platform, client enters their insurance information, we make sure they have the benefits, and then you start billing them through Thrizer.
Yeah. And she said owners subscribe to Thrizer. So it's not really a subscription fee or anything. It's more like there's a fee, like a 3% fee that we were talking about before for each of the claims they go through.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's see. Does that answer your question, Jenna? Let me know if you need more about that, because we can go back over stuff if you need us to. Let's see. Other questions. She says, oh, okay, I got it. Okay, good. Yeah. And
Cool.
this was a question that came up yesterday. Somebody posted it in the event. Why would someone want to choose Thrizer over maybe one of the other out-of-network companies that are helping, like Reimbursify or something like that? Do you have any thoughts on the differences or why somebody might
Yeah,
choose Thrizer?
I think for us, where we differentiate is definitely with. Sorry if you hear some background noise right
You might
now.
hear it here too. The wind just picked up. So
Yeah, I think where we differentiate, one is kind of our pricing. So I think a 3% has been very attractive to therapists, and because we're kind of combining our payments system with insurance, that's why we're able to do that. For us, I think that also instead of just like simply outsourcing kind of like the way a lot of medical billers do, just like they'll kind of outsource the insurance load. Um, and for us, everything is a lot more automated. So, and that just allows for, increased reimbursement times, just and over time, increased accuracy, and just more time to just like, support therapists. And so that's definitely feedback we've gotten of like the response time from the support team and just the overall service has been super, just super responsive. So I think those three things are capture it.
Yeah, and I was going to say that that's the feedback I've gotten too. You guys may know Andrea. She goes by Andrea Teresa on Facebook, and then Megan Smith Gunnell. I'm friendly with both of them. They're both using Thrizer, and they both have said to me the response time and the help that you give personally and how invested you are in each company and making sure that the system's working exactly how they need it to work for their company is amazing. So I think that's you can't really put value on that. I don't think it's so important to be able to just reach out to you and get an answer right away. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I mean, a lot of our team is kind of dedicated to that type of responsiveness. So
that's amazing. So cool. So somebody says, do you provide marketing material?
yeah, and I think that's a feature that we do offer. It's a relatively newer one and one that's still kind of being built out. So I mean, I think if you kind of go into the platform, we'll see there's an option to create like a public profile and take a matching questionnaire. And in kind of areas where we're live, which right now I think it's California, New York, there's a few other states, kind of where we have a bigger concentration of therapists signed up. We also try to drive clients to a site that way, like clients who are looking for therapists.
Nice.
And yeah, and help them connect with you. So you can potentially get new referrals. I always say that, I wouldn't come in with the expectation like Thrive's going to fill up your caseload because this is kind of something that's just still new for us and we're still building out. But yeah, I mean, there's no like extra fees or anything like
that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty amazing. Because I think the person that asked, I think she's in Georgia or South Carolina, but it's mostly like what, California, New York, those places for the marketing right now.
I think North Carolina. I would have to check just to be sure. There's a few states where like we have enough therapists signed up where it makes sense. But yeah.
That's pretty cool though. I mean, once it grows, you've only been around since January. It's cool to think that there's going to be a place like for private pay clinicians really to like be marketing their services and know that it's going to be a smooth process. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then, as potential clients sign up, them knowing, okay, what their discounted rate might be for each therapist they're looking for. So that's the kind of vision that we're going towards, right?
Yeah. Nice. I like it.
Yeah.
It says Reimbursify charges per provider in a group setting and has 2 tiers, and it can be costly if you have a large group of providers. How is Thrizer different, and do they have a dashboard / software to see claim updates?
Yeah, no, great question. So I would start by saying, yes, we do have a dashboard for claim updates. Right now it's on the client portal. We're actually working on bringing that over to the clinician side, just for the therapists who do want that transparency.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean, Reimbursify, I think that the way I understand it works is kind of, yeah, they either charge the provider or they charge the client. I think it works both ways. And it's usually like a per claim fee, or for group settings, there might be like a monthly fee. So it's kind of like this extra cost on top of what you're already paying in credit card fees or payment processing fees. And so that's why, that's where we're trying to build in like the cost savings where, we're kind of building a platform that just like integrates with your existing workflow without just all this extra fees that get associated with that. Reimbursify also doesn't make like when I use it in my past, and then I'm not sure if they've updated since then, but I was submitting claims through them. And my things were still getting sent to me via check. So it really just submits your claims. It doesn't do much to kind of speed up the reimbursement times or like make the deposits electronic. So it's still like, sometimes the work was on me to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't think, I mean, they don't get involved like customer service wise, like getting in there and trying to get you all set up and all that stuff. I don't think. I'm not sure about that. But
yeah, I'm not totally sure. But yeah, they definitely don't manage the claims. Like if there is something wrong, it was on me to call. At least when I was using them, it was on me
Oh,
to
okay.
kind of call, figure out what's going on.
With the claims and getting paid and all that
Correct.
stuff, right?
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Does that answer your question, Michelle? Let us know if you need to know anything else about that. And for the rest of you that are here, if you have more questions, let us know. Okay, let's see. Oh, she said yes, that answered her question. Okay, great. Let's see. I think we answered. Let's see. So the client, so somebody else says, so the client calls the therapist identifies out of network and informs them of Thrizer. When do we know it's okay to schedule? So I think,
Yeah. Well, really, as soon as the client, as soon as we get the benefits, we can check and see, yeah, this is what you're going to be getting back from your insurance company. And, really, as soon as the client's like, okay, that works for me, that's when, you would schedule that. We've had, times where the client just schedules it as soon as they like the therapist and they're like, yeah, whatever I get reimbursed is fine.
mhm.
So it really depends on the client, whenever they feel comfortable just setting up that first appointment.
Yeah, so it's kind of up to the client, but what we were saying earlier, Glendora, is that they verify it pretty quickly. So that information is public knowledge to the therapist and the client pretty soon, and then the client can decide if they want to book based on that information. Right, Raunak?
Yep, that's
Yep.
exactly right.
Okay, okay. So we got some more questions coming in. How much time do you have, Raunak? I didn't ask you before we started.
Oh, that's no problem. I have another 10 minutes or so, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah, that's perfect. Okay, so Michelle said we also ran into the issue of our providers having to be registered as out of network with the insurance companies to be able to submit claims. How do you handle that?
Yeah, and I think that is another way Thrizer really like can step in. So I mean, all the I'm trying to it's a heavy process, so I'm trying to make it as succinct answer as possible. But really
Okay.
what Thrizer does is kind of we insert ourselves as the middleman between the client and insurance and then the provider and insurance. So there isn't any registration that you guys have to do. So especially with companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield and United, there's just some of the companies that usually expect a registration. But because Thrizer is registered as like an out-of-network billing provider, and we're submitting claims on behalf of everyone, then they recognize us. And so that's what I was kind of talking about with like our established channels with payers.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's starting to grow, become more constant, and they're becoming way more familiar with us. So yeah, we very early on we ran into that problem and we kind of fixed it since then. So there's no registration that needs to happen anymore.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. I hope that helps, Michelle. That was an excellent question. I didn't think of that.
Yeah, that was a really good question.
Wow. Okay. Thanks, Michelle. And then somebody said, okay, somebody said awesome, somebody else said that's awesome. Everybody thinks it's awesome. Um, so will you work with any insurance company or is it just like the major commercial providers or I'm trying to think, I guess Medicare or Medicaid don't do out of network really anyway. So is it just the major?
Right. Well, I would say it's really any PPO insurance because I would
Okay.
say 95% of PPO insurances have out of network benefits. You're right,
Mhm.
Medicare, Medicaid, 99% of the time they won't. And then there's all HMO plans, again, 99% of the time they won't. But you know what, we're happy to check either way, see what we are dealing with.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay. And even then, if there aren't out of network benefits, you can still run them through the platform if you don't want to deal with the payments and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, just some more that's awesomes and all that good stuff. So, so we pretty much touched on everything, and you talked about the future of Thrizer, like some of the upcoming features you hope will be released soon. I think that's really cool. Is there anything else you want to tell them about Thrizer that maybe we didn't talk about already?
I think we covered our bases here. That was a really good discussion. So there's some really good questions. Yeah, I mean, kind of in a short, when people ask like what Thrizer is, I really just say it's a billing platform for therapists. And like you mentioned, yeah, we're really, the next kind of set of features that are being released is, like I mentioned, that Thrizer Premium, which is coming out like live pretty soon for clients. But then, the in-network billing, kind of more features for group practices to have some better accounting. So yeah, it's really right now we're just moving towards like this one all-in-one billing platform.
Amazing. And somebody did, there was one more question. Medicare Advantage plan, although I think she meant is often out-of-network benefits. I'm sure y'all do work with those, right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So, and that's what I was referring to. Like, that's that 1%. Like, we did have someone with a Medicare plan that had a network benefit. So it really depends on the plan, and that's what we have to check.
Yeah, yeah. Those Medicare Advantage plans are sort of a special breed there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. Well, I'm excited to be partnering with you and this platform. I'm excited to see what you guys are going to bring in the future. I'm just an advocate for anything that can make this easier for therapists to be able to see their clients and keep client retention rates in place. It's,
Right.
It's amazing. And I love that you're so passionate about it.
Yeah, yeah. And I think that it started out being like, oh man, I feel so bad for other clients who have to go through this, especially just from my personal experience. But I also learned, of course, from like the therapist perspective, like, how things are so kind of like outdated and difficult as well. So yeah, it kind of like grew into this thing. Okay, let's just like help both sides of the equation here. But yeah, no, I'm super excited to be partnered with you as well. I think this is a great fit.
Thank you. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you guys, if you're catching this on the replay, type in #replay, and then we'll come back and answer any more questions that come up that we might not have gotten to during this live. Okay. Okay. Everybody's saying thank you. Yes, they are. How do we join? That's a good question.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
forgot that one.
So maybe, Kim, we can post the link to Thrizer, the clinician site. I'll ping it.
Yes.
I'll ping it to you in the chat right now.
Okay.
And then maybe we can post it. I don't know if we can attach it to like the live stream or something.
Yeah, I can put it right in here. I can pin it to the top. Is it thrizer.com/clinician? Is that the?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Okay. I just posted it. There you go, Glendora. That was a good question.
Yeah, I'm glad
we forgot
got
to talk about that. And Raunak is going to be reaching back out. I think when people initiate contact, you're the first person they're going to be really in contact with, right?
Yeah, a lot of times it's me. I wouldn't say always, but yeah, a lot of times.
Gotcha.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, so let me see if I can pin that to the top. Won't let me from this screen, but I'll go do it in a little while. So yeah, just reach out there. It's no commitment. Just reach out and talk to them and see if it'll work for you. I think it's awesome, and I'm excited about the growth. Yeah.
Thanks, Kim. I appreciate the time.
Thanks
and I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you here.
Yeah, thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.